Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Real Unscripted. This is your boy, Byron A., a.k.a. Mr. CD, coming back at you again with another hot topic, and I want to apologize to all my listeners out there for going on this 2-month hiatus. Life gets in the way every time. Well, I'm going to jump right into this. I got one of my close homies. Close homies. We haven't known each other that long, but I feel like I've known him for a lifetime. My boy, Sam, is in the building. Oh, Sam. Let's go ahead and introduce her. Sam, say here, Birdie.
What's up? Wait a minute. That was awesome. So, just so everybody knows, I told Cordero, we got these little cues where people are laughing and stuff like that. So I told everybody, I told Cordero at the beginning, hey, we got to find a way to work each of these, how many are there? 8?
It's like 8 effects.
8 effects into this podcast. So you got to listen to the whole thing to see if we get all 8 of them. So that was the first one. So we got 7 more to go.
Dude, you want to know something funny, though?
What?
I don't even think we got that one in.
For real?
I'm being dead serious. I don't even think we got that one in.
Oh, y'all didn't hear my intro? I was like yelling and everything because people were yelling. All right, here we go.
No, we got that part. Oh. I don't think we got the clapping part, so let's do this again. So, we got Sam.
Yo.
On the show. Sam, say what's up.
What's up? All right, there we go. All right, so one down. One down. But they don't need to know when the other ones are coming. We got to make them anticipate it.
So, me and Sam had talked about this topic for, 2 months now?
Yeah, at least 2 months.
Disclaimer, the kids are here. Just give you that heads up.
That's a true story. My kid's not here. He's at home.
Yeah, probably getting ready to go to sleep right now.
Probably. I got a 1-year-old, and his favorite pastime is eating, and that's pretty much it. He don't walk. He just eats. He doesn't do anything. He
walks when he has his little push toy.
The dude ate half a chicken breast at dinner last night. I was like, whose kid is this? Like looking around the restaurant. So the topic.
Me and Lady C touched on this topic a little bit last season. And I wanted to go a little bit further in depth with it. And today's topic, toxic mothers and absent fathers.
Yes.
The question was supposed to be which is worse, but I kind of don't think they're,
Yeah, it depends on who you ask, I think.
Yeah, so, Sam, I'm going to let you, jump right in there with your story.
All right, let's do it. So, CD and I have grown up in different backgrounds, and we have similar perspectives, but different stories. So we thought this topic would be super cool just to give 2 different perspectives of it and then ask each other questions and stuff like that. But I grew up in Harvest, Alabama. Got him. All right. Y'all had to get the gunshot in there. If you don't know about Harvest, it's like literally a mix of... It's like where Tony is. It's like North Huntsville. So half of it's like hood. We got Harvest Projects. And then half of it's like country. Yep. There's no in the middle. So my high school, it was either you were really country or really hood. And if you're in the middle, you got beat up. And a lot of people got beat up. So I grew up in Harvest. And I grew up in a normal house. And my parents are both white, as you can imagine, probably by the sound of my voice. And so I know you were thinking...
No one cares.
Yeah, I know you were thinking, I can't tell if he's biracial, Hispanic, Iranian, Middle Eastern.
Iranian in the Middle East.
Yeah. Or if he's got the coronavirus, but I think I know. Anyways, so I grew up in a normal house and had a really good life growing up. My dad had a steady job. My mom was a nurse, and I got 2 older siblings. So we played a lot of sports growing up. I was super into baseball and things like that. And the way that my parents were raised, they were very, very. It was very heavily. They had toxic mothers and absent fathers. Now, they were both in their lives, much like mine, but honestly, emotionally, spiritually, not so much physically, they were absent, right? So there was never really any growth or like legit parenting. And also, I want to put a disclaimer on all this. I have amazing parents, and I'm super blessed and thankful. So, Mom or Dad, if you ever listen to this, shout out. I love you. I will not dishonor you on this podcast. I believe in honor. We give people honor, and so I don't believe in gossip, so I will not gossip about my parents. And I'm going to honor them, but at the same time, I'll tell it like it is. So we had a pretty normal lifestyle growing up. My dad was gone a lot. He traveled all the time for work and stuff like that. And you know, I think the weirdest part for me as far back as I can remember, like, my parents never hugged, they never kissed, they never touched. Like, I never saw them do any of that. So from the beginning, I'm like, okay, if you're married, you just don't.
How you got here?
Yeah, right. I'm like, they did a science experiment, I guess. I'm a test tube baby. No, so I always wondered, like, okay, if you're married, I guess you just don't touch each other. That sounds terrible. So I don't want to get married, right? And so, anyways. My sisters were older and they kind of knew what was going on, but my parents were like always fighting. Like I literally always saw them fighting, and I just thought it was normal. So I was like, whatever. And then I remember specifically like a couple different times my dad was so hard on me. His dad was really hard on him growing up, and they believe that generation, obviously, like if you're harder on your kids, then they'll be better for it when they grow up, which is not really true, right? CD's looking around like crazy because you turned into a rebel. And so my dad was super hard on us and everything. And it was good for us for discipline reasons, but like, bro, he was so hard. And so we, you know, internally wanted to rebel. So anyways, my parents sat me down. I was probably 12, and we never played like family games. We didn't do vacations. Like we didn't go places together. We didn't play board games. And my parents sat me down in the living room with my sisters, and I remember thinking, this is weird, bro. Like, what are we doing? And they were like, we're going to play a board game. I'm like, okay, this is fishy. Like, this is... Let's go! Okay, yeah. Dude, we killed 3 of them. That was, like, literally perfect timing. All right, I'm in. I'm coming back after this. So... They sit us down and they're like, hey, just want to let you know, straight up, we're getting a divorce. And I like freaked out. I was like, oh, you know, crying, ran in my room and everything. And I remember laying in my room. My mom came in there and was like, come back, you know, we'll talk about it. Because it caught me out of nowhere. And both my sisters were just sitting there because, like, they already knew because they were older. And I just remember my mom saying, like, this is going to be normal. It's totally fine. I remember thinking, like, what? Screw you. It's not going to be normal. Like,
nothing
this
normal
crazy.
about this.
You don't know what normal is. So honestly, a bunch of it was a blur after that. But some other parts of just my story are kind of tough with some abuse and things like that. But it all kind of ties into, like, okay, after my parents split up, they literally never sat us down and said, this is why we're doing this. Like, they were never honest with us. They were just like, hey, we're getting a divorce. Everything's going to be great. And I'm like, you're fake. Like, what are you talking about? And if they did have that conversation with us, like, I truly don't remember it. So that could be on me. But anyways, my mom found a new house, like buys a house, moves kind of across town, not super far, but it was still weird, right? And so at 13, like, I remember my mom not strictly saying, you're the man of the house, but like, subliminally now saying, okay, you no longer have a childhood, like, you're the man of the house. And I think that was probably the start of like it being toxic because she lied about my dad to me all the time. I was the mediator, right? So like my parents had issues, they would come to me and I'm like, I'm 13. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. And so my dad would lie to me about my mom and vice versa and over. So I was like, well, I'm not trusting anybody because y'all are fake. So, right after they got divorced, like within the year or so, I was at this camp, like an outdoors camp, and ended up getting saved. So thank the good, sweet Lord, I got like legit saved. I mean, I had an encounter with Jesus, and it was real. But I was still struggling because obviously I didn't have anybody to talk to about like what was going on, right. And nobody understood because all my friends had these perfect lives, stuff like that. So my dad pretty much was like, I'm out, like was around, but was just not there. I mean, he did his own form of like, he's single again. He's going to travel 24/7. And I just remember in high school him being like, hey, you can stay at my house. Just make sure. I'm like 16 at this point. He's like, you guys going to have parties at my house. If you want, just take all your friends' keys. Basically like, you can drink all you want and like smoke all you want. Just don't do anything stupid. And I'm like, at the time I was like, oh, this is lit. But in reality, I'm like, that is bad parenting. Like, that's so bad, right? And so, honestly, like, the time I needed my dad the most, like, literally from 13 to, I don't know, 18, 20, whatever you want to call it, he was not really around. And my mom was asking me to fix this and fix that, get on the roof and do this. Basically, like, husband duties, man of the house duties. And I'm 13, like, I don't know how to do any of this. And so, YouTube. Right. Literally, I use YouTube. And then honestly, like, my dad would answer the phone, and most of the time he'd say, no joke, he would say, YouTube it. And I'd be like, dude, I need you to show me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But he did show me how to do most of the things. So I'm grateful for the skills, like, with my hands, and I can keep up a house and everything and do a bunch of stuff. But at the same time, like, emotionally, bro, I'm still paying for it, right?
I wish I had those skills, dude.
Well, I paid for it, right? It comes with a price. And so I'm still working through that, but he was just gone so much, like literally all the time. And I just remember thinking, I don't know if this is work or like pleasure. And I kind of find out it was like pleasure for him. And it was just weird. He always had girlfriends, wouldn't tell me about them. Just weird, bro.
Just show up random times.
Yes. Like, and they were the worst. I'm like meeting these girls like, these girls suck. And my dad I think he's pretty cool. So anyways, yeah, my mom dated around and things like that. And they both tried to kind of make a life for themselves, but they're both still single. So they're trying to figure it out. But regardless, my mom and she started to see my dad coming out of me when I was growing up, like as a teenager. So she immediately was like, oh, I'm cutting this down. Like, and so what do? I buck up even more. Like, you don't own me, just disrespect it. For all the teenage boys out there, if you disrespect your mama, I'm going to smack you. So I wish I could go 10 years.
He's really going to smack you.
Yes, I wish I could go 10 years back in the past and just punch my teenage self in the face and be like, dude, this is your mom. Don't disrespect her. But I had all this anger and all this stuff. Basically, the whole point of what I'm saying is we didn't talk about things when we should have talked about things. Right. We never sat down and had a conversation of like, here's the issue. I'm having this issue with you or your dad or whatever. Let's have a conversation.
Message.
Yes. And if you watch tomorrow, this message will be archived and put on the online so you can go back and watch it.
That is correct. Dude, so your story sounds a tad similar to mine.
Oh, no. Now we need some new content.
No, because the thing was, my dad was there physically